I'm presenting. Let's see if see how we're doing. How many people are out there? We got all two of them. As long as we outnumber the audience, and we're in good shape.
And you might have that stat backwards.
You guys are live. Like my YouTube, I'm hearing you just bantering right now.
Yes.
They're going to hear me say that too.
Oh. You're like the third person. You're like our conscience. Our subjective. Our shared ghost.
All right, that means you should probably do an official intro.
Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to SketchUp Live, Friday, October 22nd. And 1 week before Halloween, and I hope everybody is getting your scariest, most enjoyable, best costumes up and running. And I think the word from our opinion corner is don't do Squid Games. Everybody's going to do Squid Games. Don't do that.
I don't even care if you already have a pink hoodie. Just,
yeah.
Don't do it.
Just.
What if I already have a strainer?
Oh. I suppose if you were to go as anything, and I confess I haven't seen it, but I know the reference. If you were to go as anything, you should go as sort of like the porcelain stop-go doll. That would be actually
That'd probably be unique.
Could be a scary.
Well, you could also just get the green and white tracksuit and go as any one of the victims or whatever you want to call them, contestants,
participants.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Okay, so yeah, today we are going to be doing kinetic sculptures. And if you're not familiar with that idea, it's sort of art sculptures, but sculptures that move. And so we're going to explore kind of the movement of how we might say, okay, if we were wanted to just create some ideas, actually making the sculptures move requires a lot of mechanical innovation and things, and we're not exploring that side of it. We're just exploring kind of the artistic side of what happens when we start moving pieces in relation to each other and what's going to look interesting. So, kinetic sculptures. So we're going to use components, and we're going to utilize components to do that. Now, here's kind of just a rough idea of the concept. We'll do a really simple one. So let me just get a circle in here as reference, and then.
So do you have a vision of the thing you're putting together, or are we witnessing creation from scratch at this point?
This is creation from scratch, but in fairness, I will call out a few people who do actual kinetic sculptures, and these are going to look similar to ones that I've seen out there. So I don't want to profess that I'm coming up with something totally new, but Anthony Howe, Jennifer Townley, Clayton Boyer, and David Roy. And I'm sure there's more, but those are kind of the four that I went out and looked at some of their examples. So that's what I'm working off of, is kind of that starting point of seeing some of the work that's out there.
That's okay. It's called inspiration. It's okay to do that.
I hope so. Anyway,
At least it's okay with Aaron.
Yeah, I'm
That's
good
all
with
that matters. Oh. Dave did comment already that he's excited that you're using components, Tyson.
Now then, I knew that was coming. Good form, sir. So this whole thing is going to be components. This only works with components, but I'll actually be interested to see what other ideas y'all have out there. But okay, I said we're going to create a quick example. Let's do that. So I've got this one, and I made it a component, and I'm going to rotate this. Let's say, let's try 30 degrees. And what's that? 11 times for a full circle. And I'm
Is
going
that
to
the point of that original circle, was just to make...
just as a reference, yeah. So I have something that roughly looks like a circle. Now I'm going to take this set and I'm going to group them together. Oops, grouping. I'm not going to make this one a component. I'm just going to group it, and I'll make this a copy
Stargate.
of that. I know, but it's just going to make this easier. And I could use scale, or I'll just say flip along the, let's say, green. It's not going to matter.
Whoa.
So what happens is once we edit this component and rotate, then we can simulate what it would look like if we had those two sort of large pieces rotating in opposite directions.
All right, and that concludes our live stream for today. Hope you guys you're blown away. I'm done.
And
I'm out.
that's a wrap.
That's actually true. This is all we're going to be doing. We're just exploring different shapes, but this is all this. That's the sum total. That's what we're doing. We can.
Spoiler, TLDR.
Oh man, sorry. Let's at least paint these different colors. I always favor I tend to favor sort of wood colors, but let's make these a little more interesting. Sorry, let's do.
You can do colors too? Oh man.
I know.
Mind blown.
And just for sake, I'll group these together. The nice thing about, in this case, let's say we want to put this on a wall. And let's turn shadows on so that we can kind of get an idea. But the nice thing about being able to just group that stuff together is that we can still move one of these and it will work inside those groups. So let's grab our little...
We turned on the shadows so that we could tell what? How close we were to the wall? How shadowy the shadows are?
No, just because it looks interesting. And also to slow my computer down.
You know,
It's working!
we have talked about this in our podcast, where sometimes design is just for aesthetic purposes because it looks cool, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have my hairstyle the way I wait, never mind.
I thought that was just for speed. Aerodynamics.
That's all it's all so that I can do whatever I'm doing as quickly as possible.
Let's see.
Although, so I watched Dune last night, and I feel like a Harkonnen right now, so that's unfortunate.
You mean a Harkonnen?
A Harkonnen, yeah. Spoiler, they changed the pronunciation.
So it's like Avatar?
Yeah.
They
No.
They changed the House Atreides to Smith, in case you guys don't want to spoil it.
So it's
Actually,
like
and they don't
Smith's
say
Creek?
House Atreides. They don't say House Atreides, they say Casa de Atreides. Or Smith.
I don't know, but let's see what this one looks like. This
Whoa.
is again. You were absolutely right, Aaron, when you're like, "That's it. From now on, for the next hour and a half, I'm just playing around, and you guys can talk about whatever."
Just changing that one shape. Make it spin.
Yes, should call it out. You can see in Tyson's overhead view, he is back on the Wacom tablet.
Oh,
No more mousing like a sucker.
Sucker.
And I want to point out that since you did 12 pieces, any of these could actually end up being a clock.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the idea. Let's do another one. The fun part of this is just
Messing around.
So
I feel like there's no need for anybody to give you any grief about saving, because this is just playing.
that's true. And if I crash and lose all this,
I mean, for those that want to download your model after the fact and play around with them, it's probably worth saving.
maybe. And simply because I do sometimes turn like shadows on and then we have a lot of stuff going, I'll probably start new files versus like just creating multiple sculptures in one file. But you're right, we should save. Maybe we'll just when's the last time, Aaron, you went through a whole session and didn't save once? Should we
I don't like to talk about that. It happens. It's not intentional. I'm not proud when that happens, but it does happen.
Let's make this one a component. And
Yeah, Studio RT Cool is excited to see your Wacom, but he said his is misbehaving.
oh, mine does too sometimes.
Have you ever played with a Cintiq, like when doing SketchUp stuff, or just you don't have a Cintiq, right? It's just a
right. It's just a Wacom. I have not done the Cintiq. It looks lovely though.
Aaron, when you had that loaner a while back, didn't you have a Cintiq? Did you?
Yeah, they I think I had one for like a week.
Yeah. And you mastered it in that short time?
No, I recorded a video on it, same thing.
Okay.
No, it's awesome. I mean, it's very visual, right? Because you're like looking at the thing you're doing. It's really cool. But man, those are not cheap tools to play with.
Well, I feel like with the ability to sync iPads to like put them alongside your device at this point, it almost seems, if I was going to spend $1,000, why wouldn't I buy, the giant iPad? I mean, sure, it's not the 17-inch Cintiq, but I can browse Pinterest whenever I'm not working, or when I am working. I don't know.
I think the big deal there is you could hook your Cintiq up to a monster gaming rig, and take advantage of that firepower whilst still being able to draw right on the screen.
I think you could. I mean, if you use, maybe it doesn't work on the PC, but they have like the sidecar thing where you can hook your iPad up and use it like a tablet.
Oh, does that work?
I think it's only on Mac though, so there's no such thing as a screaming gaming Mac. Because Macs and games. That being said, they did announce some new screaming Macs this week. Holy cow!
They did.
Can you imagine a $6,000 laptop and it not being $1995?
All right, so this one, we're kind of just saying, hey, what? As it rotates around, we create this kind of creates different cubes at different times. I don't know, this one's kind of fun, and it's always interesting to look at this and say, from the top view or from a side view, what do these look like? What are you trying to create here? The other thing with this one we could do too, right? So let's just say, well, we could rotate it that way, or we could do something like this.
Whoa.
Let's see what that looks from the top.
DCube's curious why your bounding box is a little bigger than the actual shapes.
On this diamond, my bounding box, the bounding box is always sort of a little bit bigger, but also the nature of this diamond, right? And the axis on it creates that box. I'm not sure.
Is there thickness to the diamond as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's probably actually it. Oh yeah, there you go. Sorry, I looked away.
And the bounding box is always rectangular and regular to the axis of the space you created.
Drawing window, document window.
So
A little extra bounding box for you to love.
Well, something.
yeah, let's put this one up on a wall too and see what that might do.
This feels sort of like, I don't know. I hope that everybody that has ever made a component has played with modifying a component and watching it change their entire model. The playfulness of what you're doing with when you're making it kinetic. It just feels like that.
Yeah,
I like that better than when you create a component and use it in your model and change it and then zoom out and realize that you have manipulated your entire model.
Like, dang it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
So, this is pretty cool. It's fun.
It's fun.
Just to be sure, let's go to the under window model info. This is but the default settings mean that when you're editing one component, the others are sort of faded out, and we can hide that completely. But in this case, we want to see them, so let's go ahead and turn this up so that when we do this, we can see them a little better. So we could do it that way. We could do this. Yeah, so that's...
It sort of reminds me either of a flock of birds or a school of fish, or a school of birdfish.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like that. I like that because your different orientation means they spin different directions. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and we could take a few of these, and if they are out here differently, they should spin a little different. Or we'll play too with reversing them, scaling them, and getting different results. Let's see what happens if we spin them this way.
Oh, crazy.
Very cool.
I can't think of a specific example, but Bryce used to make all these crazy cool kinetic sculpture kinds of projects. Trying to think of some of them now that you should try and reproduce.
Those things that Jody once saw a while ago.
Do you know what I'm thinking of? Think of this thing that I'm thinking of. No, he 3D printed a bunch of them. Those things that would all put together. You remember what I'm talking about?
I don't remember. He's done some.
It's been so long.
Some lights.
It's
and
been
stuff,
a long time since we worked in an office.
Yeah. All right, that one's a kind of a simple example, but that was fun.
We do have a request. Could you go into that your master component and do a rotate, not off the center, but like a rotate point a little further away?
Oh, sure.
Ooh. We'll see this thing explode. You probably have to zoom out here.
Literally explode.
So
awesome.
Let's do this a couple ways. So let's do, say, from here.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, it's not exploding as much as I thought, but I like it.
Well, he's working his way up to it. He's showman. He's a showman. He knows what he's doing.
Okay. Waiting for the reveal.
That's right.
I wonder, I don't know what the mechanical nature of doing some of these would be. I wonder sometimes, like, is it more interesting to just have a perpetual one-way movement, or like go, back to recognizable cubes and then reverse it, and so your sort of movements back and forth. Let's see.
Yeah, it starts to feel like a screensaver for your wall.
All right, this time we'll get more explosion.
Nice. That's cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
So fun.
So here's the frustrating thing about this little project, this little experiment of yours is, I'm just looking at trying to figure out how you could actually make it in real life.
I think spinning around the center would probably be the easiest. That's a whole lot of little motors.
Yeah, some of these, obviously they're intersecting, like some of these are impossible, physically impossible. But yeah, how to make...
Dave just commented with the exact same thing. He says, now make a mechanism so you can actually do it. That's next week. That's what Aaron's going to do next week.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's take a different approach to this one, actually, before we move off, because again, this is just ideas, so I have another idea. Let's explore. We'll take this one over here. We'll make it unique. And this one, let's add...
You ever seen those wooden mirrors that have like little blocks of wood that have different darknesses to them? Like the four sides have like light, slightly darker, and then black on one side. And then there's a camera that flips the little wood block based on what the camera's seeing. So it's like you're looking into a mirror, but it's like oversized and made of pieces of wood. It's kind of making me think of that.
No.
It's pretty amazing.
I have not seen that. I don't know what you're talking about. So basically, it's like they're a pixel that has...
Yeah. Four values of lightness. And then, I don't know, some processing happens somewhere where it breaks the image down into lightness values and then flips each individual piece. It's pretty incredible.
I'm trying to figure out what a four-sided object looks like. Is it
The cube.
I don't know.
It can't be a cube. That's 6.
Well, yeah, but only two of the sides.
Oh, two of them have the pivots.
Right.
Gotcha.
What?
That's a fun little thing you're making, Tyson.
Yeah.
I
What?
don't know.
Okay, we're gonna go with whatever this weird shape is. And move this. I know, right? Everybody's like probably has their own ideas, but you're all subjected to whatever.
Just do my idea.
No. All right, let's lock to this. I'm gonna make that a new component just to get a little bit better box. I won't worry about. And I don't know how this one's gonna work, so I haven't tried this before. Let's see. Ah, come on. So if we take one of these and we rotate it again by something sort of off to the side.
I'm waiting with bated breath right now.
Yeah, the suspense is killing me.
Actually, I think the image on our meet window is locked.
Oh,
YouTube's moving.
YouTube's moving, but this is not.
I was trying to figure out what a meet window was, and it's like wooden mirrors, meet windows. Okay.
So
Meet makes a terrible window. It's very opaque.
Let's reverse a few of these and rotate a few so that we get them going in different directions. And these are gonna start jumbling together, but again, let's just see what it looks like. So
we do have a request from Matt that you make a meet window.
a meet window?
Please model a meet window.
What the
I think meat makes a better door, but I'm really kind of uncomfortable with any of them.
I think you're uncomfortable now.
confused.
Try opening one or cleaning one.
I don't know, Lady Gaga wore a dress made of meat. It's probably more versatile than I'm giving it credit for.
Could be. If I wore a dress, I might consider it a meat kilt.
Ooh, let's.
Sounds like an inappropriate slang term.
Thanks for going there. Yeah, no, this is an entire topic that probably belongs somewhere else. I'm gonna throw it out my meat window, and we're gonna forget about that.
You guys are off in Meatland, and I'm over here in La La Land, just being like, "It's so pretty." Oh, I don't.
Dangling diamonds. So did you put the little clock hands on there so that you can grab them and use them for simple
Yeah,
rotations?
yeah, it just is something to grab onto. So this is one of those areas where I think at this point you look at this and you're like, is there something interesting to explore? Because I think we'd want to go in and actually start to be a little more deliberate in where these are, and which ones are rotating forward and backwards. And but again, that's just an idea to be like, does it work? Maybe. Is it worth exploring more? Maybe. Not. I'm not going to. But okay. Let's do another one.
So to try and make this seem a little practical, to try and put some real practicality on this.
Stop.
I'm just saying, like in the case of your little thing you just made, it'd be a good way, like without figuring out how you're going to do it, it at least lets you see what something is going to look like when it's being kinetic. It at least gives you sort of the idea behind how your dangling trapezoids are going to look when they start to rotate. Maybe there's something there you can use to prevent a mistake when you're making it out of real materials. Dave was saying to flip some of the components so they rotate in opposite directions, but maybe we're too late now. You've moved to a new file.
I did that. Yo.
Bill wants to know, how do you work out interference between components so that they don't overlap?
Well, I don't. So, that is where you go beyond what we're doing. So this one will be an example. Let's say, okay, we want to work out, like I say, let's try to make this work a little better. As we put this together, we can see that the size is a little bit off, and we should have started with a rectangle for reference, but you know, at this point, yeah, so we've got interference going on. Do we just move two of these up and see what happens? I think working out the actual interference, and like I say, the mechanical aspect of this, that really would be, that'd be really interesting, but I haven't gone that far, and I'm not a mechanical, I don't know all the stuff to resolve some of this. I don't know.
Well, Dave's suggestion is just you use your good eye, your calibrated good eye.
What if both eyes have gone bad?
Use the better one of the two.
Try harder.
Yeah. Squint your eyes like this. That makes it easier to see everything.
Jenga.
Jenga.
Ooh.
I hate that game. It's the dumbest game ever.
What are you talking about?
Jody just told us he's not good at Jenga, but without telling us he's not good at Jenga.
It is.
Exactly right. Like, I don't have shaky hands, but I have shaky hands. when it comes to Jenga time.
All right, so that's Jenga. I'm not really that compelled by this one. Let's do something else, because y'all are at my whims.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I know obviously the topic's got to come up sooner or later. I'm just going to broach it now. So MS Physics will recreate physics and does some of collision detection. It does bounding box collision detection. But I don't know of any other collision detection type stuff, especially while you're editing like you are. Because you're not actually, I mean, you're not doing any processing. You're not actually, rendering or running MS Physics or anything like that. I don't know that there's actually anything that while you're modeling will let you do flash detection or collision prevention inside SketchUp.
Yeah, not inside SketchUp that I know of. I don't know, and as we get farther, I'm not gonna go down a heavy. I think that setting some of this up, especially for an example that we'll get to in a little bit, we could use some plugins, we could use some extensions that would definitely help, but I'm not going to. I am going to show one extension here, but otherwise I'll be mostly extension free today. So what am I doing here? I don't even know.
Getting existential.
Yeah. So if I do this, let's reverse these so they go down. All right, so if we move one of these to go apart, okay. Let's reverse these. And let's put
Like Stonehenge.
Yeah. But not as good. But almost. I'm almost as good as Stonehenge.
So Tyson, it's been suggested that gigantic mug, if it were full of coffee, would prevent you from ever sleeping. So it begs the question, what you got in that gigantic thing? Yeah. I think since it's Santa, then it would only be fitting if it's just full of hot cocoa.
Oh. And if it was full of straight, unfiltered coffee shots,
this show would get a lot more exciting over the course of 2 hours.
It would. Maybe I should do that.
Maybe.
Oh, this is. I don't know where to go. Okay, I'm not going to bother with this one. This is. I'm not sure what to do with this one. Maybe we'll do something like this. So if we offset that in, let's say by an inch, cut that out, and then one of the things that I'm glad you brought that up, Aaron, because about MS Physics, because if anybody out there can think of a way to connect components so that you could move one and it would have a different effect on another, but I don't think that we can. That's where MS Physics would come into play, where you could move different things differently, or we'd have to go in and start animating this all separately. But some really interesting kinetic sculptures, right? Again, they have relationships, and it would be interesting to be able to move something that has a relationship. But in this case, everything we're building is based off just one component because that's all we can do. But in this case, we can at least have this sort of meshing together. But one thing that you can do, so we can see this just fine and kind of explore it as an idea phase. And that may be all we need to sort of validate and say, okay, I've got something going on here that's, either interesting or not. But one thing that you can do without editing, if you just wanted to see this, is we can use the keyframe animator and animate one of our components, and that will animate all of them. Now, I would imagine we could do something similar with Fredo's, but I don't know Fredo's animation tool very well. So right now, I'm going to simply use the keyframe animator. So let's create some scenes. And I'm not going to bother with saving any of this stuff. And just create some generic, let's say, 3 scenes or something. When I try to animate, if I select this and make sure I'm on scene 1 and go to animate, it says, no, you've got to do groups or components. Well, if I just move this one, it's not actually going to move it. So inside this component, now I'm going to group this geometry, and then I'm going to record that group placement inside the component. So I've recorded it, then I will move it, record it, and say move it back, something, and record it. Okay, so if we did that right, which I didn't, I recorded all of those to scene 1. Oopsie. Okay, let's try this again. Let's move this back. I don't know where I was. Okay, we're going to record from there. Scene 1. I'm going to double click, activate scene 2, move this. Now record it, move it back, and record it. No, that was scene 2. See?
And you know what? When he did the run through yesterday, he nailed this every single time. And then as soon as the cameras went live,
let's see if this one works. So if I play now, and I turn, and this is another way to slow it down. So I let's see, under my animation settings, we can make this, let's say 3 seconds, so it's a little bit faster. But now we don't have to we don't have to edit, and we can get kind of an idea of what it would be as smoother or slower. I think that's kind of an interesting way to just be like, okay, I get a sense of it. Let's get some timing in here. You could render this out. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting that we can use something like keyframe animation to help us in the simulation.
that's cool. Yeah, there was a while back on some live streams, we did some models of steam engines. And I know Dave went through and animated several, and that was kind of cool.
Oh, very cool. If you did the whole steam engine, then I'm assuming, Dave, if you're still out there, that you probably used Fredo's. The setup to do it through keyframe animation would be really tricky.
I think he actually did some of them just with just native, with repeating elements and then scenes.
Mm.
But I don't remember.
Well, okay. This one is not as interesting. Let's create another one. All right. I suppose there's lots of examples out there, and I have a few more ideas, but I suppose we could open it up, and if everybody out there gets the kind of gist of it, if anybody has suggestions, go ahead and toss them out. We'll see what we might do. No guarantees. I can make no promises.
You can make lots of promises. It's just that people will be disappointed when you fail to honor them.
Yep.
Oh. Well, I love disappointing people, though, so it's cool.
That's true. You are very good at it.
Yeah.
Practice, practice, practice.
Now, so do you have any, just while you're drawing this, have you made any sort of kinetic-y, have you used SketchUp to sort of brainstorm any kinetic sculptures that exist in real meat space? I must be obsessed with meat today.
You mean have I made any in real life?
Yep.
And I haven't. How about you, Aaron?
Poser.
I'm going to come back to that comment. But
My comment, not yours, Aaron.
no, I was waiting
trying
to see.
I don't think I've ever done much of that.
Like, part of me wants to say, try making some print-in-place gears like you would do for 3D printing, but I don't want to tell you to make gears.
There's an extension for that.
Is there? Only on Windows, though, right?
I don't know. I prefer to make my gears, from what I've been told, incorrectly. So
Okay, good.
that's just what I do.
I was going to
Good to have a
say,
thing.
Jody, if you're starting to throw maker shade, I thought you were going to make the airplane
Watch
after
it.
we documented it. So
Oh,
where
I did.
is
I
that? Where is it?
I crashed it. I crashed it before I got any pictures taken. My bad.
Oh.
That's
You made
convenient.
it fully functioning one. That you always do go above
Exactly.
and
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
beyond. Nice. All right, what do we got here? Make that a component.
Oh, so I do have to say, having watched, I did not watch it all, but I did watch a portion of Doom on HBO last night. And just in case anybody's wondering, the ornithopter we made off of the imagery we could find looks nothing like anything that's in the movie. So
Okay, so I just want to clarify, because you didn't watch the whole thing, that you only saw one version of the ornithopter.
I saw the Harkonnen one. Harkonnen, sorry. But maybe there's more. I'll roll with it.
Yep.
Okay. There's nothing like what I made in the first hour and a half of Doom.
There you go. Much better stated.
Ooh,
I don't want to
that's-
give you any. I don't want to offer up any spoilers.
I was
which
just
I
saying,
already
now I'm
kinda
excited
did.
to go home and watch the rest, I guess.
Man, what are we doing
do,
around
I
here?
do-
We should bail out.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You're right. Tyson's got this. See ya.
Thanks, everybody.
We had a good run.
I think this is a case where you probably could use
Ooh, that's
an extension, something along copy along path or something, and you probably could set this up. So, but again, we're just going to sort of power our way through no extensions. So let me cut out of that.
Yeah, I just did a video on Sketch Plus, which is from Mindsight Studios, and they have and there's others too, but just because it's topical, there is a component along path option in that one.
So I want to do more with this, but before we get there, let's just go ahead and kind of explore what's happening so far. So we've got something like this going on.
That's extremely dangerous.
That's right. Back to Jody's meat theme of
Ground beef.
here. Let's make it a little bit less dangerous. Let's come into this one. Oh, sorry. I mean, more dangerous. We're gonna make saw blades.
Ooh.
Let's take.
Oh, I appreciate the time that you went in and did that.
Thank you. It doesn't matter. It will not be seen, but you know, for if you know, I know there's somebody out there who that's just gonna like stick in your craw and be like, we know they're there. That leftover geometry. So let's smooth these out. Like we have a little disc here. And, all right. Not going to do anything more than say that. All right, so those are kind of big. Let's just separate that out. So delete that and all right, we're gonna see what happens. This gets really sloppy too, because at a certain point here, I'm just like, I did resolve that geometry just a moment ago, but maybe now I'm getting really lazy because I just want to see what's happening.
Hey, there's always a case for rapid prototyping. It's a thing that happens.
Rapidly.
Yeah. All right, so let's spin this for a moment, but then we'll do something else. So we say, okay, that's well and good. But let's edit one of these and rotate each of these by, let's say, no, I'm getting in trouble here now because I've created this and I need to rotate it by the center. So let's do something temporarily. Let's fill this in and give us a spot to work with. In fact, as long as we're gonna give ourselves some guides, let's say we give some guides. Okay. Oops. So let's just make a copy over here and all right, talk amongst yourselves. Talk Dune or something, because I've got a few of these to rotate. Hide this.
It's like a chance to do stitching.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Ooh.
I do want to let everybody know here what we got going on this week. So maybe I'll use this opportunity. So coming up next Thursday, we do have another live recording of our podcast, Donuts.
You have a
Design and
podcast?
Debate.
Nice.
And we're going for controversial this week. We're going to be talking about the font Comic Sans. So it's gonna be something. It's gonna be there's a lot of opinions about that particular font, and we're gonna be talking about most of them. So yeah,
Nice.
Come hang out with us on Crowdcast, and then next Friday, a week from today at noon Mountain Time, we will be doing another live model, and it will be our Halloween episode. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be spooky. Tyson's gonna dress up in a brand new costume that he's gonna put together this weekend. Oh, said that live. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Boom. Hey, Tyson, George
We're
is
not
wanting you
friends
to.
anymore.
George is wanting you to walk through the process you did for creating the model. Was in your thumbnail. I don't remember what was in the thumbnail.
I didn't. That's an actual kinetic, but we can create something like that. But that's an actual one by David Roy or Clayton Boyer. That's a real live.
It's a real thing.
That's a real thing. That thumbnail
Somewhere.
picture. Shadows, boom, because they're
course.
sweet. It's gonna slow everything down, but
Okay, that's pretty cool.
that's fun.
It's like ornithopter blades on the Dune ornithopter.
It's all about Dune today.
Sorry, one track mind.
Oh,
This is
I
so much more
forgot.
complex than the standard cube that I create whenever I'm just testing something out.
There we get our thing. All right, so those. Let's just move everything back a little bit. So, well, let's find out. Does it? How far back? Not too far. I think we're okay. Anyway, we are creating kinetic DNA.
Or dunna, as they
Yeah.
say.
Speaking of your Comic Sans font, are people familiar with the Papyrus SNL skit?
That's awesome.
Do you know this, Aaron? Do you know that you should be
but
doing?
I have feelings about Papyrus.
Oh, you have a good laugh ahead of you. Who is it? It's not Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan, the other good-looking Ryan.
Gosling?
It's Ryan Gosling, and he's some sort of graphic designer, and he's furious that the movie Avatar. He's like the Avatar logo is just the Papyrus font. That's all it is. Some lazy designer just wrote out Avatar, chose Papyrus. That's it. And they got away with it. It's so great. He's just obsessed with Avatar logo.
Like waking up in the middle of the night, cold sweats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah, like seriously. All right, so let's see. Now the fun part is we can change up our change things up. So let's say we
getting intricate here.
I know. I think the temptation, of course, and this is the nice thing about in here, is like you get to start making things really messy and intricate. But at a certain point, you wonder, like, okay, there's a kind of simplicity probably helps when, like, okay, at what point does it just get too busy and the mini shapes start distracting from what you're doing versus they work.
But I could see, I mean, I've seen a lot of this, artwork like this, stuff that like people put in their gardens or something like that. It's a pretty cool way to visualize rather than just having to kind of guess how it's all going to look once it's put together.
Yeah. It's so fun. You just sit in here and you make little tweaks and then you do it and you just sort of lose track of time and like, oh, wow, what if I did this? What if we did this? I want to see if we can use that little keyframe animator and create a nice slow motion to kind of evaluate this. So let's see. Let's just create 2 scenes. And where are we here? So if I grab this, I think I grouped the middle piece, I grouped all these, so we should be able to, on scene 1, record, and then if we go to scene 2, and we do like a 180 rotation, and record it. Let's see. Nice. I'm gonna slow that down. And then get down in here. I think that's so fun. I appreciate too not saving the camera, because now we've got that set up and we can be like, okay, do we want to, what does it look like if we're up here? And we get to test it. And what does it look like if we're over here from across the way?
That's awesome.
So just good fun.
Yeah.
I think another cool one that I saw, we'll use this. So let's copy this just as a starting point and then do a new file. And we'll use this as our space arm. Maybe modify it a little bit just because. Let's just get rid of this. See, this is all messy. Oh well. Same thing as the last one, only we're just going to put it in a circle instead of sort of working up a spine. So, let's make a copy and then I don't know. Do you see anything in the comments? Has anybody done stuff like this? Has anybody ever explored or created anything that they've done in real life or
I think they're all excited about this as something new. It seems like.
I was hoping we'd have somebody who's like, oh, Oh, Tyson, that's amateur hour. Let me show you how to do it.
Well, I mean, for one, I was impressed when you started like listing off these names of kinetic sculpture artists. Like, oh yeah, those guys.
Oh yeah, I wrote.
And then they went by too quick to Google.
Okay, well, Anthony Howe. That's the stuff we're doing right now. This is a little bit Anthony Howe. The diamond one of just sort of diamonds, although she has a lot of others. That's Jennifer Townley. She's got most of these folks have examples on YouTube or Vimeo. And then the first one we did with sort of a wall piece rotating in different directions, that's Clayton Boyer and David Roy. They do some
These
other
are people
stuff
that make
too.
real physical sculptures, not SketchUp models of sculptures.
Yeah, and they'll use software that actually simulates. So they might use
They don't even use SketchUp? Oh, are we talking
not that
about?
I know of. I mean, I'm not throwing shade by being like, hey, SketchUp doesn't automate the way that, a what's the big brother version of Fusion? Fusion would do it, but that engineering software.
I don't know. I don't know that family. We never met.
I do got to mention that speaking of shade, Noah is commenting on how much he hates seeing models with leftover geometry.
And then he thanks you for your diligence.
Yeah,
He wasn't throwing shade.
Well,
I just interpret it that way.
like I say, I did that, and then I've got this whole mess. But
come on, man.
we just won't zoom
literally.
in. So I'm gonna take these, make a copy. I don't know what my scale is at here. Let's see, 10 feet. Let me group these and these. So I'm grouping that. And I'm going to scale these down. Back. If you haven't done this before, let's just put out an open invitation out there. Throw stuff, because as always, Aaron's got a forum post on this one. That's all our live modeling, I believe. Do some examples. I would love to see what some more imaginative of you out there could do. So please give it a try and throw some screenshots or examples.
Grab a link to that for anybody who's wondering.
Nice, thanks. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Temporarily, sometimes, again, that keyframe, we may do a keyframe once we get it to a point where we want to see it more clearly, but temporarily, if I want to look at this, I may ungroup some of these groups in here, or components, because right now I've got all these boxes, so if I ungroup this, then it's just a little clearer, and then I'll remember to undo that, hopefully, before I move forward and lose my... Alright, this one's cool. Obviously that bar's in the way. But maybe this is a case where we say, okay, that bar's right there and there. So I'm going to undo, like I say, back to And let's see if we can take this one. I'm going to put it in this group. And let's move this group out here. And I wonder how far away we need to move it. Or we could make this arm shorter, but how far away do we need to move it to actually make these so that they don't intersect?
Could you rotate your whole sphere so they... Oh yeah, you got it. You got that.
Looks like it's not. It's something close like that. That looks like it's working. So let's do about the same distance over here and flip this one. See what that looks like. I'm going to ungroup those temporarily and it's trippy.
It is. Awesome.
If see how we can see all the segments of this. That happens when you 1, 2, 3 triple click, or just because I ungrouped them. So I'm gonna just drag a selection window, clear. That will show just surfaces, and we can see this a little more cleanly. And what happens if we turn shadows on? Nice. Well, at that point, we've created like about 6 different sculptures, and we're only an hour and 10 in, and that's about what I had. I actually thought this is the first time I've gone under time.
I think it's awesome. I mean, there's some stuff that I've seen stuff like this on Instagram before, like especially this last one, the one that you're looking at right now. Have you seen that one that's like, it's like 10 feet tall and those things swirl around? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I've never really thought, for whatever reason, to go in and try to make it. This is a cool functionality I just never thought of.
For the next hour, you could slowly start stitching together the pieces of a Hoberman sphere.
I don't know what that is.
I think you just let us know.
It's just like it's a ball that then when you can expand it, it becomes just a super thin framework, and then we push it together. It looks like it's really spiky, but it's a collapsing kind of sphere. It's fun and kinetic.
Huh. To hear you describe it, I'm sorry, I'm still like, okay.
Oh yeah, there's not a way that I could describe it if you haven't seen it, that you're all of a sudden be like, yeah, I'll go ahead and make that right now.
It's like when people are like, can you just model a clean bottle?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We don't have to, but just because we have a little more time, I'm going to do the same thing here where I rotate each of these like by 15, and that'll create a different effect. But yeah, I don't know, unless you have some other ideas, or unless there's ideas that have come through the forum. That's kind of, what I had.
Well, while you're rotating that, I will just let everybody know that you probably know we're underway with 3D. While you're in there, you could clean up those faces, though. Just saying. Close that up.
That would be real nice.
Okay.
Anyhow, we are in the process of planning 3D Basecamp 2022, which will be in Vancouver, Canada. And there's information available for that at 3dbasecamp.sketchup.com if you're interested and want to find out more information about it. Also want to point out that we have opened up a request for presentations. So if you yourself think you have a presentation, some information that you think people might want to see here as Basecamp attendees, now is the time to put that information in. If you know somebody else who's a good SketchUp presenter or master SketchUpper, and you want to have them get involved, you can pass the link to them. I'll put links to both of those down in the forum, in the chat right now.
Lovely.
So that's as much time as I could buy you, Tyson.
Thank you.
So Bill's asking if there's any kind of insurance, cancellation insurance or anything if for some reason COVID causes things to go awry.
Yes, we do have a cancellation policy that says if you are unable to travel because of stuff getting shut down for COVID, just like we had last year, we did refund everybody who had a ticket last year because that was beyond their control or ours. But the plan right now is to assume that we will be good enough to, we being the world, we'll be in good enough shape that we can all travel to Vancouver and do this. We will, as of now, we're also planning on following the, COVID recommendations, both by the country of Canada and by the Vancouver Convention Center, which does mean things like vaccinations and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're hoping it's going to happen. We're excited about it, and we really just want to go. We want to be there. We want to see you guys.
I might go anyway, even if the show didn't happen.
Just go
Act
sit
like
at the
it's
Vancouver
happening.
Convention Center for 5 days.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You really want me to clean this up?
I mean, you do the work that you will be happy to put your name on at the end of the That's important.
You must, of course, do what you feel is right.
Oh.
Wise man once said that.
Listen, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I
get the
prefer
reference.
playing Guild on you personally.
All right. Hold on. Check the innards, which are messy. I'm not gonna do more. Okay, let's see what happens before we do more. Just make sure. Yeah. That we even like this with the different. I better get my rotation point back though. So this one.
All right. Time to throw the meat window through the grinder.
Exactly. Okay. Let's do our little animation trick so we can see this.
Something. I'm kind of getting these Doc Brown mind reading helmet vibes from that.
Ooh.
I figured you were going to say sandworm mouth for sure.
No, the little hairs are not big enough. The teeth, the whatevers.
Unprocessed Chris knives.
Yeah. That.
Now, what do you know, Aaron? I haven't been testing this. One of the things that keyframe animation, sometimes if I want to do a full 360 and then I move it back to here, it doesn't always register, and then if I move it halfway, it may interpret it Have you found a reliable way when you're doing rotate to, like I say, if I do it to here, it may interpret it the other way.
Yeah, I think you have to do like 4, like 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees.
Yeah, see, it's
4
doing,
frames.
I think so
otherwise
too.
it would rotate one way or the other, but I think if you break it into 4, it'll do a quarter on each time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back into scene 2. Oops. Stop. Do something more like that. Just so we have a little more movement. And one thing I haven't done, now that we've done that one, we should be able actually to
Stargate.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Nice.
So yeah, just by animating the one, we can now
Wow.
explore different configurations out here.
Oh, now what you got to do is take each one and rotate it like 5 degrees so they don't line up. For every other one.
Every
Or whatever.
every
What are
other
they,
one of
15 degrees
these.
apart? So
If I group this now, let me just make sure that doesn't, yeah. So if I take that, all right, stop.
Tyson wants to rip on himself. Too much.
So, let me turn shadows off for a sec. For obvious reasons. 30. Once we get actually 45, we should be able to just copy the rest of these. Okay, something like that. Ooh. All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm tripping. That's awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
It's sort of, it's like a technology version of like the Starfield simulation screensaver from forever ago. Stuff coming at me in unexpected ways.
Let's see how well it will. Shadows. When you use the Keyframe plugin, shadows cast onto other objects don't update, but the objects themselves somewhat do. But you'll see that the ground shadows are not. And even if you put a surface down there, it wouldn't be different. So, but that's kind of fun. Good idea, Aaron.
That's cool.
I think we should end on that one
I think that's a high point.
and just let
Anything
everybody.
you do now will be a disappointment compared to
It's,
that.
it's true.
That's right. Quit while you're ahead.
Wear that as a badge of pride.
That's what my parents have told me my whole life. You're just disappointed.
You've peaked, Tyson.
No.
That is very cool. Well, if that's not a thumbnail right there. Of course, it's gonna have animated thumbnails, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it will be a thumbnail that is confusing enough that you will have to open it to animate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
All right. So thanks everybody. I hope that was fun. Kind of something different. Next week, have we determined, Aaron? Next week, Aaron and I thought about doing a co-op. Just doing some pumpkins, and I will use native tools only, and Aaron will lean heavily into extensions. So I think we've done it before, but that's for Halloween what we're thinking. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I like that.
Something like that. So we won't commit exactly, but something like that next week. Hope you'll join us. Happy weekend, everybody. Again, thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Jody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right.